Philadelphia's final practice of week 1 of training camp was full of big plays, from Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown to the young defensive line. But it's what's happening to the Birds' rookie that's really caught everyone's attention. Plus, the Eagles' newest weapon is already being unleashed at training camp, a new version of the Linc is reportedly underway, and an impossible move that Howie might just try and make. I'm Thomas Mott, this is the Thomas Mott Show. Position battles and practice standouts are already starting to take shape as week 1 of Eagles training camp is officially in the books, with the Birds now taking a day off before getting right back at it early next week, where reportedly the pads are expected to come on. And while of course training camp is going on, there's a brand new leak out of Philadelphia citing that Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie is working behind the scenes on building a brand new Eagles stadium, or at least getting started on one. With reports this week that Philadelphia sent a survey to select season ticket holders, asking them about upgrades they would like to see to the Linc, as well as their preference for a future stadium that would either be open air, a dome, or some sort of hybrid situation similar to what the Rams currently have at SoFi Stadium up in LA, which of course led some to believe the Birds are still weighing their options of either renovating the Linc or starting with a brand new fresh stadium. So owner Jeffrey Lurie has said in the past the goal is to eventually be able to host Super Bowls and Final Fours in Philadelphia. However, Philly Voice put out an article citing a meeting back in May where fans were pitched the idea of a brand new stadium, saying, quote, 2032, our lease runs out and our intent is to build a new stadium. And so while we're still 7+ years away from 2032, meaning the Linc is going to be the Linc for a very long time, they might consider upgrades to the current stadium. But I think overall the writing on the wall this week is that eventually, 2032 or a little bit later, they're going to build a brand new Eagles stadium, likely either a dome or some sort of hybrid, half open air, retractable dome, whatever it takes to get Final Fours and importantly Super Bowls to Philadelphia like Lurie intends. And I personally love this idea. I love the Linc, but a new stadium eventually, again, years down the line, is the right move. Give me your thoughts down below. I'd also love your thoughts on the whole Christian Wilkins news that took the NFL by storm this week as the Raiders shockingly released the superstar defensive tackle just 1 year removed from signing a 4-year, $110 million deal with Las Vegas. Now, if you're not familiar, the whole issue here is that Wilkins is currently dealing with a significant foot issue, and the Raiders themselves wanted him to have surgery on it. However, Wilkins and his team only wanted to do, quote, other rehabilitation methods. Apparently both sides were so dug in that Vegas chose to straight up cut him instead of figure out a resolution. And while right away any team wants to sign the now free agent superstar defensive tackle Christian Wilkins has to do a ton of due diligence to make sure the foot is okay. Can he even play going forward? We don't know. The Raiders cutting him is a big deal. But if he somehow gets cleared, and if Philadelphia is one of the teams that thinks he's going to be okay, do you think Howie would make a phone call? I think the answer would be yes. Wilkins was literally one of the best interior defensive linemen in the National Football League as little as 2 years ago, when he recorded 9 sacks in 17 games with the Dolphins. And there right now are rumblings inside league circles that Wilkins could get healthy enough for an end of the 2025 regular season and playoff start. And will now, according to The Athletic's Diana Rossini, start taking visits as, quote, teams believe the next steps for Wilkins would be making visits and taking physicals with them. Because he is a vested veteran, Wilkins can avoid waivers and will have a chance to pick his next landing spot. And let's just be clear, this is all hypothetical. There's no actual reporting tying Wilkins to Philadelphia, although Howie Roseman himself said during his opening training camp presser a couple of days ago, he is willing to do whatever it takes and go get whoever it takes to win right now.
And so I think from our perspective, whatever opportunity comes about that could improve this football team, I mean, if there's an incremental difference on a player who's the 90th guy from a guy who's on the street, we're going to make that change. And we owe that to our fans. We owe that to our players. We owe that to Jeffrey to do whatever we can to keep improving the talent level on the team. And so the way that I look at it is that we have a lot of young players coming down the pipeline that we want to keep in Philadelphia, but we want to win. And we want to win right now. We want to win next year, and we want to win going forward. And that's my job to try to balance it, and I'll do whatever I can to make sure that that happens.
I put a Wilkins signing with Philadelphia percentage chance at like 1% right now because, I mean, the fact the Raiders cut him is obviously a massive red flag. And so take this all with a tiny little grain of salt, but if he starts taking meetings, keep an eye on to see if Philadelphia wants to at least bring him in for a physical because they have the defensive line right now to sit him on the bench, get him fully healthy, and then, I don't know, bring him out as this kind of crazy superstar, dark horse edge rusher, defensive tackle for the start of the postseason. It's a long shot, but it would be interesting. Also, massive shout out to Bear Mattress for sponsoring today's video because if you're like me and you want to upgrade your sleep, well, you're going to love Bear. Now, of course, we all know you got to get your sleep in. We hear it all the time. Get your 8 hours, get your 10 hours, but we don't really realize how many factors go into actually getting a good night's sleep. And your mattress is definitely one of those factors. Bear Mattress is a premium, fiberglass-free mattress designed to improve your sleep quality and overall life. Plus, their shipping was super easy, right to my door and completely free. And the best part about Bear is how easy it is to find the perfect mattress for you via their sleep quiz. Because they know everybody has different sleep preferences, so I myself took it, and based on my results, Bear matched my wife and I with their Elite Hybrid mattress model, which has been perfect for our sleep style. And by now, I've had my Bear mattress for, I think, 2, maybe 3 months, and let me just tell you, I've been sleeping better than ever. What I love most is just how comfortable I feel right when I get into bed and as I'm falling asleep. Plus, it keeps me cool through the night thanks to Bear's sleep recovery technology. And of course, don't just take my word for it. Bear recently surveyed over 300 customers and 82% reported a noticeable improvement in their sleep quality after switching to Bear. In fact, 95% of them said they would recommend Bear to a friend. And as I said earlier, Bear delivers your mattress right to your door and with free shipping in the US. You don't have to worry about literally anything. Plus, they offer a 120-night sleep trial so you can test it out risk-free. Plus, Bear has a limited lifetime warranty, and they even offer financing and flexible payment plans. So head to bearmattress.com/Thomas Mott and use my promo code Thomas Mott to get 40% off your Bear mattress. Try it out. Again, it is absolutely fantastic, and you're going to love it. Now, flying back to reality, which was the Saturday practice, and the best argument against Christian Wilkins or signing any other defensive lineman is just how impressive the Bears' current D-line has been. With Moro Ojomo generating a sack of Jalen Hurts and multiple beat writers pointing out he continues to generate pressure on a regular basis. I've said all offseason long, I think Moro Ojomo is the dark horse breakout candidate on the Eagles and maybe in the entire NFL going into 2025. So far, without pads early in training camp, he has consistently been very, very impressive. And it's not just me or beat writers noticing, the Eagle players going against him are noticing as well.
I think Moro has done a tremendous job. I think, obviously, I've got to see him in practice quite a bit. I think maybe he got overshadowed a little bit in the last year or two. You know, obviously you got guys like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis out there. But I think that he has done a tremendous job. He comes in every year. He works hard. I think he's a very technical player. He's very good. And he's also playing beside a lot of good players. So, yeah, I'm really excited. I think he's going to have a phenomenal year.
He's one of those people on the inside, I don't got to worry about it. If you mess with him, JC, JD, Book, anybody on the inside, yeah, you on your own. You on your own. So especially Moro, he's a workhorse, twitchy guy, strong man, always hustling to the ball. If you watch film, you're going to see him 20 yards down the field chasing the ball. I mean, he's made tackles. Book is the same way. So having somebody like that inside, you know, I can't be outshined by a D lineman. You know, I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm an edge. So yeah, great guy.
Oh, and yes, by the way, on Jalyx Hunt, he continues to flash and has really done that all week long. And with the patch reportedly going on as early as Tuesday of next week, the sky seems to be the limit for the second-year edge rusher, who told reporters after practice on Saturday he still actually has a big chip on his shoulder despite all the current positive hype.
I have a chip on my shoulder, but I'm not cocky about it or anything. I'm a confident person, but I can understand and I'm confident enough to realize that people are not necessarily better than me, but in positions that I want to be in, and they've done things that I want to do, so I'm going to ask them about those experiences.
Now, in terms of other key Day 3 standouts and moments, first off, Jalen Hurts, he let it rip probably a little bit more in practice 3 than he did the first 2, throwing his first 2 official touchdowns so far in training camp, both in the red zone to Devontae Smith. And also seemingly finding Dallas Goedert more than any other previous start to camp, the Goedert-Hurts connection has been extremely well according to reports. Overall, Jalen Hurts has been fantastic. He has been dialed in, which I think his new offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, seems to really appreciate during his first training camp presser.
I think Jalen's done a really good job of just kind of understanding everything now. You know, he's becoming a really complete player in the pass game. He puts a lot of work into it. The quarterback meetings have been tremendous as far as just understanding what the defense is doing and what we're trying to do and how to attack them. And he takes a lot of pride in it, right? I mean, he really, over the years, have taken a lot of pride in not turning the ball over and completing balls and understanding how to stay on schedule and keep us moving in the right direction.
Now, Saturday's highlight play was a deep ball down the right side from Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown. These two are on a different level right now. Apparently an incredible catch by A.J. Brown. It was on Kelee Ringo. But before you say, Thomas, Kelee Ringo is struggling, the answer is no. Kelee Ringo is just going up against the best receiver in football. As Adoree Jackson said during his first camp presser, the whole cornerback battle has been about iron sharpening iron, and A.J. Brown is just making sure to do his part.
It's great. All competition is good competition. You know, you always talk about iron sharpens iron, whether it's offense versus defense, but being in the same room with guys who wants to compete, who aren't afraid of competition, it brings out the best of you. And then the good thing about the competition is no one is afraid to help the next man. So I think that's what I love most about not just the room, but this group in general, to be able to help each other one by one, ask questions to the defense, ask questions to the offense, what they're looking for, how to get better. So the competition just brings everybody up.
Other offensive standouts include the polarizing Terrence Marshall Jr., who continues to get a lot of hype so far and actually got a few first-team rep snaps on offense. He's not going to take somebody's starting job, but he continues to impress. Then there was A.J. Dillon, who we haven't mentioned the running back's name the first couple of days, but according to Zach Berman, the coaches are starting to take notice because of his skill set and size, but also as Kevin Patullo pointed out, he has had very good hands catching the ball out of the backfield. There's a lot of A.J. Dillon hype heading into the weekend.
You know, it's interesting because he is a different kind of player. He is a big guy, right, that can run downhill and do different things. And what's actually been really good to see is he's done a good job catching the ball out of the backfield and his versatility. So it just gives us another guy that we can put out there in a different piece where we can move other pieces around. So it'll be fun to use him this year.
Our room is great, obviously. We got a lot of awesome weapons on this offense. And, you know, I think as far as like my individual ability, I feel like I can pride myself on being able to do anything out of the backfield. And I've done that throughout my career, whether it's catching, running, pass pro, I've done that in my career. So I think however they see fit to use me and my skill set, there's a lot of guys in that room that can do a lot of things. So it's always great when you're on a team with a lot of weapons, keeps the defense guessing. And it's fun to be out there, and, you know, you might get a play call that defense might not be expecting.
A.J. Dillon's one of these kind of dark horse candidates to be a highly impactful player in 2025 because we don't know what we're going to have. Pre-injury, prime with the Packers, if you get that version of him, physical guy, I mean, comes in whenever Saquon Barkley needs a break, it could be just game over for opposing defenses. Is he still a little banged up? Is he going to be rusty? I think you're going to see him play a lot so far in preseason. He's gotten a lot of snaps in training camp, but if you were to get prime Green Bay Packer version of A.J. Dillon, and so far they've been saying that's what he looks like, ooh, this running back unit, already the best in the league, could be the best hands down in 2025. Moving over to some rookies, and the Birds' first, second draft picks have gotten a ton of impressive work over the weekend, with Drew Mukuba actually, of course, rotating in with the safeties, and then playing slot cornerback in Philadelphia's dime package alongside DeJean, Sidney Brown, and Reed Blankenship. I think Mukuba's versatility is something that obviously they loved about him coming out of Texas. It looks like Vic Fangio is already throwing a ton at the young DB early. That's a good sign. They want to see how much he can handle, which, by the way, holds especially true for Jihaad Campbell, who got his first run with the starting linebackers on Saturday, limited, but was still out there and thoroughly impressed. Lining up at both inside backer positions, different times, as well as getting some reps with the dime unit, meaning he was the only linebacker on the field. Out of all the players so far during training camp to get a lot of hype, Jihaad Campbell has got to be one or two. Like, it's Jalyx, Moro Ojomo, and Jihaad Campbell, in my opinion, because he's a rookie. We thought he was going to be injured and not really play that much the first month overall of training camp, but so far he's been fantastic. He also told reporters on Saturday that he's going to be in pads next week. He's cleared to hit, and that is a really good sign for his chances to start week one, or at least play a lot versus the Dallas Cowboys. We obviously have a long way to go for all that to come true, but Campbell himself seems pumped to just be back on the field and learning as much as possible following a pretty injury-filled offseason.
I mean, you know, as good as it could be right now. Just very excited to be out there with the, with the group that we have this year. And I'm just really excited to, just get to work each and every day. I'm just blessed that I'm healthy right now. And like I said, man, I'm really happy to be out here on the field and, flying around with our defense, being around the offensive guys, and just learning and soaking in a lot of knowledge as much as I can, so I can apply it every time I get in the field.
My whole theme from the start of training camp and really the entire offseason is look for continued trends during all of these different practices we're going to cover the next couple of days and weeks. Just because someone flashes one day does not mean that they're going to be a superstar. What you want to look for is the same person continuing to flash. That's why names like Moro Ojomo, names like Jalyx, Terrace Marshall, these are guys who've been flashing every single day so far during Eagle training camp. Doesn't guarantee they're going to be superstars, but it guarantees I'm keeping an eye on them because the hype train, especially around guys like Jihaad Campbell, it's definitely there. And if he continues to play well, especially when the pads come on next week, oh boy, you're going to have a hard time telling me Philadelphia did not get a steal with the 31st overall draft pick in the 2025 draft. Now, obviously, we will cover when the pads go back on. They practice Monday. I think the pads are going to go on Tuesday. We'll see what happens there. We'll cover it whenever it does. And also, we are approaching 100,000 subs, almost to 98,000 right now, which means we're getting close to giving away some of the fun signed stuff, as well as tickets we mentioned on a previous show. Talk more about that, obviously, going forward, but we need to 100,000 subs, a bunch of cool giveaways. Either way, I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.